Hallo und willkommen. Ich bin Meister Lenze and you're watching Get Germanized Cannabis in Germany Explained.
I am bored. What should I do?
Ich weiß.
Many of you have asked me if weed is legal in Germany. Can you smoke it? Can you sell it? Are you allowed to own it at all? And the short answer is no, it is not legal. But this is of course not all there is to it. Owning it is illegal. Let's say they catch you with something in Germany, then you will have to go to the police. They will start a legal process against you. But if you are a teenager, for example, if you go through a certain process, if you go to a drug consulting office, so to speak, if they you go there and they teach you about drug prevention or the harm of drugs and all of that kind of stuff, and you get a certificate from there, and then you go back to the police, and then it's usually stopped, so they don't take it to court. You don't have to expect further consequences. This is different for adults though, since they are seen as people who can already judge for themselves and who definitely knew that it is illegal and what the consequences would be. I don't think that the legal actions would be dropped as easily for adults, so definitely keep that in mind. Das Betäubungsmittelgesetz, the drug law in Germany, is quite harsh. If you own a not small amount of cannabis, you might face 1 year of jail time. And if you import a not small amount of cannabis illegally, you might face 2 years in prison. If you deal a not small amount and maybe even carry a knife while doing so, you might get over 5 years in prison. But what classifies as a small or not small amount? A small amount might vary from state to state, from Bundesland to Bundesland. For example, it may range between 6 grams in Bremen, Brandenburg, Bayern and Niedersachsen, up to 10 grams in Nordrhein-Westfalen or, for example, Rheinland-Pfalz. A normal amount is more than a small amount, but still less than a not small amount. What a not small amount is depends on the THC percentage of your cannabis. If your cannabis has more than 7.5 grams of pure THC, it is a not small amount of cannabis. Consuming Betäubungsmittel, so drugs, is not illegal in Germany. Only handling these is. For example, consuming it through eating, drinking, smoking does not trigger the drug law in Germany. It is different if you buy it or own it though. For example, if someone offers you a joint and you smoke real quick and then give it back straight away, that is not illegal. But if you smoke it and then give it back to someone else, not the owner, but someone else in your group, that is illegal. To clarify, the legality of consuming should not be confused with, owning and consuming it. That is forbidden because you own the drug. Of course, if you compare it to alcohol, the consequences of weed are not as bad, but that still doesn't keep Germans and German law from, making it illegal. 63% of Germans that have been asked are actually still against legalization of weed, and I think 33 were for it, and the rest basically just had no opinion on it. This is mostly due to the fact that there are medical studies that show that for 10 to 19-year-olds, if they consume cannabis, that the brain, they call it brain ripening in German, but I think the brain growth, the brain development is influenced negatively. It can increase symptoms of depression. It can lead to psychoses and schizophrenia, and especially in those young people. I'm not saying that everyone who smokes weed will get that, but that's just what those studies have shown, and many police officers are also thinking that making it legal is not the smart move. They even said we shouldn't make the same mistake as we did with alcohol, because of course alcohol is much worse, but they still think if we send out the signal of legalizing weed, then it will just lead to people thinking, if weed is not that bad, maybe cocaine isn't that bad, or maybe heroin isn't that bad. You could just continue this thought process. And for me personally, if you want to ask my opinion about it, Every time I've tried weed, I had negative experiences with it. Maybe like 1 or 2 times where it's been okay. But I had panic attacks from it when I consumed it in Amsterdam, where it is legal, of course. And it's just, it wasn't good for me. And I have a friend who recently told me that he stopped smoking it completely as well, because it led to a very bad trip, which, well, I'm not sure if you could call it a psychosis or something like that, but like he had the very bad after effects from it. Like he had to struggle through the after effects for a long time, and so he stopped taking it completely. And what I'm always saying is weed makes the emotions that you have stronger, like it intensifies it. And I think that's the danger why the suicide rates for 10 to 19-year-olds apparently rose after legalization in the US. And that might have to do with, well, that it just intensifies your emotions. From what I've heard, the experience that I've made personally as well, when you're not in a good headspace, you shouldn't take it. And some people might, especially younger people, might not think about that and might just take it to feel better, and that often doesn't work. And, well, there's a danger in that, I think, at least personally. So I see why they don't want to legalize it here in Germany. Just giving you, well, the public and my opinion about it, but I am, of course, also interested to hear what you have to say about it. Let me know in the comments below. The only way that you can legally consume it here in Germany is when you have a very severe medical condition. I think that's a relatively new law as well. It hasn't been active for all that long. But, well, when you have one of these serious conditions, then it is legally available to you, but only with a prescription of your doctor. And I'm pretty sure that insurance companies don't pay for it, so your health insurance doesn't cover it. There might be laws that are going to change in the future. That's possible, of course, but as of right now, I don't think the health insurance covers that because they don't feel like they should. But again, laws may change, and if they do, I'm gonna make another update video on this, because in the past I've already done a video on, well, cannabis in Germany. But of course, as laws change and as society changes, I'm gonna update you guys. But again, what do you think about all of this? What do you think about it leading to depression, psychoses even, or like influencing the brain development of younger teenagers? And what do you think about it leading to lower IQs in general when you influence the brain development at that early stage? Would be really interested to hear what you have to say about this, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who are defending it, who are positive about consuming cannabis, consuming weed. I'm pretty sure, especially medical patients who I have heard like have overcome symptoms for pretty severe illnesses like Parkinson's. I even saw a documentary where someone couldn't control their spasms unless they smoked weed, and then they were completely fine. So of course there's that side to it as well. But again, I think that is a very rare, severe case. When you have a condition like that, then it might be fine for you. And if you're an adult, definitely, I mean, you can do whatever the hell you want. And I mean, as long as it's legal, I suppose. And if it's illegal, it's your own responsibility as well to act against it. But I think for teenagers and kids, we should have a different discussion for this. But what do you think? Let me know, and consider supporting me on patreon.com/getgermanized if this video helped you out, if this was informative. And, well, like the video, share it with your friends who might also be interested in this topic. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.